The House Ethics Committee is meeting today. It's unclear whether they're going to vote on release of their report or not. It's going to come out because there are Republicans in the House who don't like Gates. It'll come out. They'll encourage Democrats to put it out. This, I predict, will not inhibit him from taking this position. I also am reading that Steve Scalise is basically doing a purge of all the Kevin McCarthyites in there. This is it's time for the red wedding in the Republican House. But reports today that two women testified to Gates sending them $10,000 in Venmo payments between 27
each or total.
I think it was a total of 10,000. They were over the age of 18 when the payments were made in July in 2017 and in late January 2019, which is odd. Although maybe they were like rolling in payments. This is ABC News reporting this. This is like it's drip, drip, drip time. There is a unidentified hacker who has gained access to a computer file shared in a secure link among lawyers whose clients have given damaging testimony related to Matt Gaetz. The file of 24 exhibits is said to include sworn testimony by a woman who said she had sex with Gaetz in 2017 when she was 17, as well as corroborating testimony by a second woman who said she witnessed the encounter. The material does not appear to have been made public by the hacker yet. That I have a feeling that we're going to see that information soon. But here is Fox and Friends doing their best to promote the Gaetz nomination, or we'll see.
What I love about the next step is it's up to them. It's up to Matt Gaetz to prepare and give his mission and take the murder board, which is going to be the Senate committee hearing. But just looking at the Republicans that are more likely to vote against him, I think Mitch McConnell's a no. I think that Murkowski's going to be a no. Just judging by your comments, Collins usually goes with Murkowski. Kramer's been on the record saying he's got huge problems, and Cassidy, I imagine, will have some. This is going to be the toughest.
And he's
is it 4 because you have J.D. Vance to break the tie? So so if you have 4, it's done. So he is smart. The one thing about him, no one can ever say he can't communicate and he's not smart. The question is, can he sell a different persona that he's shown in the House? Because that is not somebody to unify, rally around, that speaks for law and order.
And I think
I'll say he sounds like a McCarthyite. I mean, I love the idea that, can he sell the idea that he's not the guy who was going around on the floor of the House? This is according to a Republican senator, going around on the floor of the House, showing sex videos of women, maybe girls that he had slept with, after cannonballing crushed up Viagra or Cialis or whatever it was.
And Red Bull.
Is that a thing?
Apparently in Florida.
Meanwhile, Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeted out that if the House members, this is an interesting threat that Greene is promoting here. And good for her. I really hope she follows through on this. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene's Twitter. For my Republican colleagues in the House and the Senate, if we're going to release ethical reports and rip apart our own that Trump has appointed, then put it all out there for the American people to see.
Hear, hear.
Totally. Where's the hashtag release the reports? Don't we need that?
All the reports, not just Gaetz. Don't be unfair to Gaetz.
Yes. Hashtag release all the reports. Yes, she says all the ethics reports and claims, including the one I filed. Ooh.
Sure, that's an impressive one.
All your sexual harassment and assault claims that were secretly settled, paying off victims with taxpayer money.
Why is
I
that
feel
private?
like we should know that.
Yeah.
I feel like we should really know that. The entire Jeffrey Epstein files, tapes, recording, witness interviews.
Oh,
But
for
not
sure.
just those. There's more. Epstein isn't the only asset. If we're going to dance, let's all dance in the sunlight. I'll make sure we do. I don't know that I've ever wished more for something to happen
Yep.
than
our
her
day,
doing
Margie.
that. I mean, this is the fundamental difference between the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. Can you imagine, like, I don't know, Ilhan Omar or AOC or Cory Bush or, Greg Kazar writing that tweet, and Democratic voters are like, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Like, the outrage, but like, wait a second, what? We'll release that stuff right now. Why do we not see that?
Yeah.
No, they're like, she's speaking for us, you rhinos.
It does make me feel like as if she has some people in mind, in that maybe there's an extortion or blackmail situation coming that she's previewing if she doesn't get her way on something.
That kind of
That's
seems like
speculation,
what
though,
that
obviously.
is a basic way to maintain solidarity by investigating things and keeping them from the public, unless people decide to start leaking.
Didn't Hawthorne Caulfield, didn't he also sort of like spill the
Cawthorn,
beans?
Madison Cawthorn.
Yeah, Madison Cawthorne.
Yeah,
Well, he sort of was the one who basically was like, there are these like cocaine sex parties in D.C.
he said he got propositioned.
Yeah, that he got propositioned by another lawmaker, and then basically instantly the entire Republican institutional establishment pulled their support from him, and he lost his primary. But now he moved to Florida and is thinking of running for something.
Yeah, well.
Let's take 2 phone calls. 646-257-3920. 646-257-3920. Al Conniption says she's full of crap. She threw in with McCarthy. She knows the strategy a lot better than this, at least enough to back down when counseled that this would be a kamikaze attack on her own party's governance. Yeah, she's not going to do it.
It's a game of chicken. Right. And she's going to chicken out immediately.
Totally. But it's a real shame. Calling from a 971 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from? 971.
Hi, this is Retro the Robot from Portland, Oregon.
Who is it?
Retro the Robot.
Retro the Robot. Okay, Retro the Robot. From Portland, Oregon.
Something I feel isn't quite discussed is just the potential violence that might be coming after the election.
The violence in the terms of like what we're going to see with these mass deportations, or
and then
in terms of like counter protests,
with the coming protests that will be happening with that, because our own governor Tina Kotek put out a pretty milquetoast statement about a week ago that she was maybe looking forward to working with the administration a little bit. Which I don't blame her for.
Right.
I'm worried about my city because I feel if jackboots are on the ground anywhere, it's probably going to be here first.
Yeah.
And so I've just been anxious about that. And I could see why everyone else may be not thinking about that yet, because it's probably not going to start in their town wherever they are.
Well, I am not convinced. Well, I think it would be ridiculous not to assume that they haven't sat down and gamed out a scenario where protests come out to either defend, immigrants that are being rounded up, or protests just happen because, trying to send a message to Donald Trump or whatever it is. And I think they're looking for this. And, this is a big strategy by authoritarian governments, right? Like, tease out protests and then use that as an excuse to crack down on people and start rounding people up. And in fact, that interview, we're going to rerun that interview with Daniel. Gosh, I can't remember anything.
Yeah,
now.
if you could actually clip that. I've had people asking for it that don't want to watch the whole show.
We're gonna clip that, but I think we're gonna run it probably maybe the day after Thanksgiving, and so it'll be available as just like basically a show in and of itself. That will be the entirety of the show.
Okay.
And he has a longtime organizer, protester, been arrested many times for that activity. He was involved in that sort of like gaming out these scenarios. And he's like, when we game out what protesting will do, it ends up just being a harsher crackdown. And so I'm not, I want to make it clear, like, I'm not counseling people one way or another. If people want to protest, I think people should protest. But I think we also need to be aware of what's going to happen and watch this. And in some ways, this is what they want. We're going to watch the same dynamic, I think, with these nominees. This is not about the nominees. Donald Trump can find 4 other Matt Gaetzes. He can find 4 other Pete Hegseths. He can find 4 other of any of these people. None of these people are crucial whatsoever. But they are a way in which for him to assert dominance at the beginning of his term. Like when he breaks the Republicans in the Senate, and he'll do it. I'm convinced he's going to do it by by daring them to bring back the Senate back into order after he dismisses everybody. He's doing this to show his power and his authority over them. And this is the way they work. And I think that's how it's going to go down. And I think like having people come out and protest is his opportunity to go and like put down a riot or whatever it is. I'm very worried about it.
Yeah, and people outside our city still, think we're like a cesspool on fire for some reason. So I just worry that something like we'll have protests and everybody's going to hear about protests in Portland and think that's normal, and then they'll be able to spin it into just putting troops on the ground in some way. And cause violence, and then I'm just really worried that a lot of the nation, I guess, is just going to think that's fine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think there's going to be a significant portion of the public who are going to be like, that's fine. I don't know, it's coming to a town near you. Appreciate the phone call.
All right, thank you.
Charlie Scherer says, Jody from Chicago, my governor, J.B. Pritzker, has impressed me with his response to the mass deportations. He said, you come for my people, you come through me. Although it makes me slightly nervous because he's making us a bigger target. Homan responded to J.B. saying, game on. Charlie Scherer, with all this talk about how ill-prepared the immigration system is, I won't be surprised if we see more mass shootings targeting immigrants. I'm also quite worried about the right feeling their winning will make them go harder on the anti-trans rhetoric, which will also resort in violence. It's going to be horrible. Yeah. Yep. Noah from Tampa. Everybody says nothing. People think Trump is untouchable, but Republicans have crapped on him too. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.